Hi, welcome to a chef called Rhonda. I'm Rhonda and this is my kitchen. And today I'm going to show you how to make pizza. Pizza, P-I-Z-Z-A. Grab your trusty wooden spoon. We'll all meet back in the kitchen while I show you how to make Neapolitan pizza. So today's recipe, Neapolitan pizza, is super easy, super healthy, super delicious, and super easy to make. While I glove up, I just want to go through the ingredients and the preparation tools that you'll need. First and foremost, I make my own dough, and I'll have that recipe linked below for you so that you can try your hand at dough. Now, if you do not have the time to make homemade dough, what I suggest is go to your local bakery, your local baker, or your local supermarket and ask for their fresh pizza dough. And then you can take the recipe from there. Here's a quick look at our ingredients for today's Margherita style pizza. We have fresh basil. I'll use between 6 and 8 fresh Roma tomatoes sliced thinly. And of course we made our fresh pizza dough, and I'll leave the recipe in our description box below. And of course our fresh mozzarella. Okay, let's get back into the kitchen to make this pizza. To begin making our pizza, the dough is crucial. It needs to have risen, it needs to be fluffy, it needs to be light and airy, and there you are. Can you see that? That's our fresh, homemade pizza dough. The preparation tools to make are as follows. I have one large ordinary baking sheet, and I do have it lined with a silpat. You can also use parchment paper. I have a pizza cutter. I also have one spatula. And lastly, and most importantly, I'll need a very hot oven. My oven will be set at 450 degrees. First, we'll begin by gently pressing our dough. Just pressing the dough back and forth. So the dough, I punch it down gently, and then I just move from the center outwards. Now my dough recipe will make about a 12-inch pizza. After I've smoothed out the dough initially on the cutting board, I take my two fists in the center and I start to move out from the center to the sides, like so. Can you see that? And I'm just using my fists and I'm going around. Can you see that? Just going around like so. After initially working my two fists through the dough as I showed you, I'll then take the rim of the dough and I'll gather it like so. Just working it back and forth. I'll go back to the two fist method and I will just flip, kind of wind them like so. Can you see that? And you duly noted, you can see the dough elongating. And I'm going to move my two fists to the outer portions and catch it, flip and catch. Now you can start to feel the dough between my flips. I take a little break and I let the dough hang, okay? And this is just to stretch. And then I flip again, and again, and again, just like the old-fashioned pizzaiolas, right? My grandfather taught me this recipe. Southern-style Neapolitan pizza. Learn to flip the dough properly, the thickness from the outermost edge, and I'm going once around. Can you see that? That is what our pizza crust, homemade pizza crust, should look like. Next, I'm going to take the homemade pizza crust and place it on our ordinary baking pan, which has been silpat lined. Okay, that's important. If you don't have a silpat, you can certainly use parchment paper. It does the same thing. It keeps the pizza nice and crisp. No oil at the base. However, little trick Grandma showed me. I take my Italian spice or my Italian seasoning and I take about a pinch right across the silpat, like so. So in theory, after adding the seasoning onto the dry silpat, your dough will have a nice bite or a nice additional flavor to that Neapolitan pizza. So I sprinkled a little bit of that seasoning right there onto the baking sheet. Can you see that? Now, simply, it's time to add the crust to the baking pan. I'm just going to pick up my pizza dough. I'm going to keep that round shape, but it should look something like this. It doesn't have to be perfect as long as it's super healthy, super delicious, and super tasty. Our next step is to cut our Roma tomatoes. I'm going to take my knife and I'm just going to cut I'm going to discard any ends. The Roma tomato slice thickness should be like so. Can you see that? So my question to you guys, do you add meat? Do you add vegetables to your pizza? You can actually prepare it ahead, keep it under plastic in the refrigerator, and then take it out about an hour before. Okay, I think we're just about there. Just gonna set our Roma tomatoes aside. A pound and a quarter of fresh buffalo mozzarella as well. In an effort to save time, I've already went ahead and I sliced it, and let me bring it up close so that you can see. I've sliced our fresh buffalo mozzarella or mozzarella. Can you see that? I'm just going to take a hunk of our basilico, and I'm going to chiffonade our leaves. And basically chiffonading basil is just that. It's just laying leaf upon leaf upon leaf upon leaf until you have a small stack. I will then roll it up like so. I'm just taking our basil leaves like so, and I'm just going to roll them up like so, slices like so. And I'll do this about maybe 20 leaves or so. And I do trim the ends here. I want you to see that. Trim the ends right off before I chiffonade the olive oil, and not adding olive oil to our dough. Why is that? Because the ingredients will then slip, but to the basil leaf. And this is a little bit time consuming. You need a little bit of patience or a little bit of patience. You want to touch each basil leaf with a little bit of olive oil, just to give it a little sheen. Aids in not burning the basil leaf. Now that we have prepared our basil, our tomato, and of course our pizza crust or our pizza dough, it is now time to start to assemble a Neapolitan pizza or a Margherita style pizza. So first, I'm going to our tomatoes right around, and I'm going to stay about an inch from the actual crust, or what will be the crust. So Roma tomatoes right on top, like so. And I'm going to lift this up so that you can see. And I'm just going to go right around in that nice circle like so. Very quick and easy, super healthy, super delicious meal, and it's got such great flavor. You don't want to overcrowd placing the tomatoes. You don't want to jam them on top. You want the pizza to breathe and be airy, but you also don't want to add too few. So it's that fine line. So I used about 6 to 8 Roma tomatoes. And once I get my tomatoes in the position that I'd like to have them, it's now time to add the basil, wherever it falls. Touch of olive oil to the basil, and we're just going to dollop it. So what I'll show you the technique that I use. I think we're good with that basil. I just want to bring it up real close. Bringing it up close, you can see how the tomato lines the rim, and then I follow it through the center. I've added some basil, and now I'm just good quality olive oil. And I'm going to place a cupful. Place it on my hands, rub it, and now I'm just going to gently press the olive oil onto that basil using my 2 fingers, ever so gently, just pressing the olive oil onto the basil leaves. I'm going to go right around the abizza. Abizza. Ooh, nothing like a Margherita abizza. Pizza. Pizza, pizza. I've heard that somewhere. I want to take a moment before we go any further to say hi to all my subscribers. We're still growing as a channel. Thank you so much. And I want to thank you for subscribing to A Chef Called Rhonda. It's always healthy, always delicious, and always fun. And I can't thank you enough for watching and really giving me the opportunity to express my creativity through way of my kitchen, my cooking, the experiences that my grandparents brought to me, and how they taught me through the years, and retaining such memories and being able to express those to you is second to none. Again, I want to say thank you so much for subscribing to A Chef Called Rhonda. And if you haven't subscribed, please would you consider doing so, because yet again, it's always healthy, always delicious, and always fun. I want to bringing up the abizza, or the pizza, the Neapolitan classic Margherita pizza. You can see the olive oil and the sheen. Now, it's time to add our mozzarella. Now, I'm just going to cut them in half. And I'm going to just bevel the mozzarella right on top. I cut the mozzarella in half. Can you see that? Right across the basil, right across some of the Roma tomato. I'm working my way towards the center with the mozzarella or mozzarella. My oven is preheated to 450 degrees and between 12 minutes and 18 minutes depending on your oven. Va così, do like so. Like so. And there we are. And there we are. A chef called Ronda's Neapolitan classic Margherita pizza. Can you see that? Ooh. Can you see that? All right, I'll meet you back in the kitchen. 450 degree oven between 12 and 18 minutes. Bravissimo. Ciao. Okay, we're back. We're back in the kitchen. We're ready to take out our pizza. We'll remove that wonderful, can you see that? From the oven. Can you see that? And crispy on the outside with all the little strips of mozzarella. Now that I'm finished cutting our pizza using our pastry cutter, I want to bring the sliced pizza up close. Well, there we have it. We are finito. Our Neapolitan classic style Margherita pizza. There we are. Homemade. If you're looking to make your very own pizza dough or homemade fresh bread, I'll leave that link in the description box below. At this time, I want to take a moment to say many thanks for allowing me into your kitchen. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you haven't subscribed to A Chef Called Rhonda, please would you consider subscribing to A Chef Called Rhonda, where it's always healthy, always delicious, and always fun. It's that moment of truth. Let's take that big bite. We have that nice thin crust with a big outer shell. Oh my God. The basil with the tad of mozzarella and the tomato and that fresh crust. Oh, second to none, right? Classic style Italian pizza. Your very own homemade pizza recipe. Super easy, super simple. If you give it a try, please let me know. Arrivederci. Ciao. Bye. Mangia.